Next weekend, the United Kingdom and the world will witness a royal wedding, the marriage of Prince Harry to American actress Meghan Markle. As England again contemplates the future of the royal family, it's the late Princess Diana who is still on the minds of many. NewsHour Weekend Special Correspondent Malcolm Brabant reports.
At Buckingham Palace, this young couple are tapping into the air of romance, undoubtedly sweeping Britain, as Prince Harry prepares to marry American actress Meghan Markle. Constitutionally, this wedding has no significance, as Harry is now sixth in line to the throne, after the birth of 3 children to his brother William and his wife Kate. But royal commentators see the ceremony at Windsor as a reaffirmation of Britain's abiding commitment to the institution of monarchy.
I think if you look at William and Harry, I think you can't overestimate the strength of the link that people feel they have to them because of their mother, because of Diana.
Peter Hunt spent many years covering the royals for the BBC and understands why Harry is the most popular member of the family after the Queen.
I think there is a searing moment in the sort of British psyche with the funeral of Diana when we witnessed those 2 then young boys, 14 and 12, walking behind their mother's coffin, and those words, or that word on the wreath on top of the coffin, Mummy, written by Harry. I think that is deep within people's psyche.
The polling firm YouGov has occasionally tested public opinion to determine whether Britain's loyalty to royalty is a myth or not, and political director Tanya Abraham says the numbers are consistently strong.
Around 7 in 10 have a positive opinion of Princes William and Harry and also Kate. What we can see from this is that the impact of the younger royals is having some kind of resonance with the public, and this can be seen through their charitable work, the way they're with the public when they're interacting.
But those numbers tell a different story to historian Anna Whitelock, who suspects the tide may be about to turn.
This is an institution that is essentially anachronistic. It belongs to a bygone age, and at a time when the big institutions are being questioned, but we've seen to promote merit over, privilege and birth, the monarchy seems to be very much at odds with that. But I think out of an enduring kind of respect and reverence for the Queen, those big debates are yet to be had.
There's no doubt that Meghan Markle has sprinkled some star-spangled glamour on the ancient royal house. But the courtiers and advisors who are trying to make sure that the monarchy remains relevant in an ever-changing world are hoping that the glister of Hollywood matures into something more substantial. Harry and Meghan's marital home will be a sumptuous 21-room apartment in Kensington Palace, where Princess Diana once lived. And this is Richard Kay, who was Diana's confidant before her death in Paris in 1997. He thinks Meghan's entry to the royal family is a positive development.
I think it'll be a good thing, provided they've worked it out and she can adjust and live by the rules of monarchy. I mean, Harry's mother was not an American, but she couldn't cope with the pressures of being a princess, and the marriage didn't last. We all hope that this one works out.
But in Brixton, South London, residents are more consumed by what's known as the Windrush scandal, a political storm that has made many people of colour concerned that immigrants are no longer welcome. The Windrush was a ship that brought West Indians from the Caribbean to London in 1948, but some people whose parents arrived on the ship have been deported as illegal immigrants because their documentation was destroyed.
There's a photo of him.
Aisha Nelson feels totally alienated. The scandal has affected her personally.
The monarchy, the wedding, lovely. It's nice for him, but right now there's a lot going on out here apart from this wedding, which is I would like to get married, but they removed my partner 2 years ago, and I've been left with 4 children to take care of, lost my job. He hasn't met his last child, which is now 1.5, and everybody wants you to think about this wedding when our lives are being crushed. It's disgusting.
Such hostility is not shared by Trevor Watson, who works in a government ministry handling welfare benefits and pensions.
I'm in favour of the monarchy. I'm not a royalist, but I'm in favour of the monarchy. It works. I'm a socialist by nature. I'd like to see things more equalled out.
Enjoying the spring sunshine not far from Buckingham Palace, Tom Irving takes a slightly different view.
I believe that the monarchy can provide a unifying force that transcends religion, race, gender, etc. throughout British society. However, at the same time, I believe it should only act as a figurehead and nothing more. Political influence and financial gain from the British people are things that are completely outdated.
It is inevitable that one day, in the not too distant future, the standard flying over Buckingham Palace will be lowered to half staff for Queen Elizabeth II, who is 92 years old.
In an age of modern media, social movements can get ahead of steam very, very quickly. And I can imagine that, there can be a kind of push on social media that suddenly says, do we want Charles to be crowned? I mean, we see how these social movements move. And that's why I think, we just don't know what's going to happen in 5, 10, 15 years when the Queen is no longer with us.